If I could go back in time, I would do things differently. And how different? Very different. For instance, I found out that there are high school students that are taking college courses. That's not something that I was really aware of when I was in high school. And at first, and probably honestly, if I was aware of it, I probably wouldn't have done it. But knowing what I know now, like I met a guy. Um, he's a medical student. He's rotating with us on the floors, and he was asking me like, how it is like being a physician. He's this been his goal for the longest that he took these college courses in high school just to get closer to the step. And I said, college courses in high school. I said, how old are you? And I'm not gonna say his age, but he was fairly young, like really young to be a medical student. Like was not even 21 years old. I was like, what the how? That was even possible. So he sat me down and talked to me about these different classes that he was taking. His high school actually offered it. And so now that I think about it, if I could have taken some college courses in high school, I probably would have done that. Because he took some of these courses, he didn't have to take them in undergrad, which gave him more free time to focus on some of the bigger courses that he could have been taking. I mean, that he should be taking for medical school, right? So sometimes it's like a history course or it's an English course. Um, those matter. Like, I'm not saying those are the hardest courses to take, but the point is, like, these courses take some time. It takes effort to study for them and prepare for the exams. Time and effort that you can place on some of your harder courses for pre-med, right? Another thing is chemistries. You can take chemistry courses in high school that count for college credit. So you can take biology courses, and honestly, sometimes people say, "Oh, at a young age you're not ready for it," but you don't really know, right? There's so many things that I thought I wasn't ready for, but when I actually took the course or I faced it head on, I'm like, "Oh wow, I actually handled this a lot better than I did." When I was an intern, I was handling one time someone told me I had to take 7 patients, and I was like, 7 patients as an intern when I first started, like very beginning. I was like, "Ooh, this is a little scary." Then another hospital, I had to take 9 patients. I was like, 9 patients. Ooh, we got to transfer, so 10 patients. I'm freaking scary, right? And then I would go in second year, and they said, "Well, second years now you're going to be managing pretty much 20 patients." I was like, 20 patients? I can barely handle 7. I can barely handle 5. Matter of fact, let me start with 3, right? And you want me to handle 20 patients during sophomore year? I mean, second year of residency, and I'm handling 20 patients like clockwork. It's crazy, right? And so the point is, you never really know until you get thrown in. But going back to my original point, if I could do things differently, right, I would have taken some college courses. It would have made it that much easier for me in undergrad, so I can focus on the courses that really matter, right? Sometimes you realize you take the chemistry or the bio, some of the pre-med courses in high school, you do really well, and you don't have to take them in undergrad. They count as college credit, especially if you do extremely well. And the thing is, if you don't do so well in high school, it's still perfectly fine because at least you have that vigorous background information in order to, when you go to college, to do better because it's not the first time you've seen the material. So it's like a win-win situation regardless. On the upside, you don't have to take it in undergrad and you get the full credit for it. Sometimes you get even an A if you do really well. And then on the downside is you have to take it still in college, but it's not the first time you expose the material, right? Second thing I would do differently is I would apply to a BSMD program. There are BSMD programs, Bachelor of Science slash MD programs that you apply into your junior year of high school, sometimes your senior year of high school, and whatever college you get accepted into, you get automatic acceptance into the medical school. So you're not even worried about the MCAT anymore. You're already guaranteed. You know from the moment you finish high school that you are guaranteed to become a doctor, or at least to get accepted to a medical school where you can graduate and become a doctor. So all the stress and pressure that other people are having, you don't really have that, right? Some of these programs, they offer like, some minimum requirements like, oh, you have to maintain a B in all of your science courses, which is perfectly fine because most pre-med students are to get, a really good shot of getting accepted. A lot of them are pushing themselves to get all A's. They're pushing themselves to get nothing, no B's at all, not even a B plus, not even an A minus. So you don't have that pressure. Obviously, you still want to do well because you don't want a chance on getting lower than a B. But the point is, you have that, it's a load off your back, right? That's me taking off my jacket, a load off your back, right? Where you don't have to study, you don't have to focus so hard on the what if I don't pass, what if I don't get the score. Your goal is to just maintain that B and above, and you're guaranteed your acceptance. And you get to forego the MCAT. Especially because imagine being really, really good at your college exams And then when it comes to the standardized exams, because you have such anxiety, you're panicking, or you just feel you have a bad day, etc., you don't do well on the MCAT, and now your whole medical dreams is out the window, right? So there's always, it's always a tit for tat buffer situation. But I would definitely go back and apply to a BSMD program. Next off, you don't need a Bachelor of Science, aka 4 years of undergrad, to get into medical school. You can get into medical school with the Bachelor of Arts, right? And arts like ARTS, Bachelor of Arts, right? I know some of my classmates in medical school that they don't have their BS, they have their BA, their Bachelor of Arts, and they perfectly doctors. I don't think I see anything different. I would have done a BA, to be honest. A BA would have allowed me to take less courses. So I don't have this because Bachelor of Science has more courses than the Bachelor of Arts. But the classes that I still take with the BA is still going to be the courses I need for medical school. So as long as I have a bachelor's, that's all you need to get into medical school. As long as I have the BA, I take less courses. I can focus more on the ones that really matter. I just got to do better on those courses, and then I can still go to medical school. You can complete a BA in 3 years if you really want to. If you really focus and you're dedicated, you can complete a BA in 3 years and then skip a whole year and go into apply to medical school. That's not an issue. So I would definitely, definitely do that. Another thing I would do if I could go back, I probably wouldn't have been a bio major. Honestly, knowing what I know now, I would have went to school and probably chose like Spanish, a bit of a Spanish major, or maybe something interesting, cool. I don't care. The point is, you don't have to be a science major in order to get into medical school. You can choose any major you want. You could be a journaling major. You could be a political science major. You could be an art major. You could be whatever major that piques your actual interest. That way you're in college having fun with these interesting courses that you love anyways. And as long as you take those 8 required courses for medical school, you can get accepted to medical school. So then I could have been, learning a brand new skill. Obviously, when you don't choose a science major, you might be taking just these amount of courses will be your science courses, and you skip out on all these other courses, but which is fine. But sometimes all these other courses can help you focus or understand better these 8 core courses required for medical school. But the point is, I would want to. I love the Spanish culture, the Hispanic culture. I want to be bilingual in the future, and I'm still working on it now. But had I known what I know now, I would have went back and become a Spanish major. Why? Because to me, learning Spanish isn't as hard because I love it. I want to do it. I'm more interested in that than me, looking into molecular cells. I was a biology major, and then when it comes to going to medical school, I would just focus heavy on those 8 required courses or however many required courses there are right now. So the point is, I would do that differently. So obviously, I can't go back in time because um, you just can't, right? But obviously, I'm here now, and I'm glad, I'm happy, thankful to be where I'm at now. But just something to take into consideration in case some of you guys are early on in your journey and still have the opportunity to go take yourself to the next level. Like these are some things that you might want to consider, things that I've considered too. Another thing I'll probably do differently is I'll put a lot more emphasis in these 8 core required courses for medical school, specifically the ones that may show up on the MCAT, right? Sometimes psychology, sociology, those are not required for pre-med majors necessarily, but they show up on MCAT. So maybe when I have like free elective courses that I can take, I would probably take maybe the psychology and the sociology courses. Why? Because that can help me better understand the MCAT, right? When I'm taking my organic chemistry, my physics, my biology, my chemistry, I would probably get the MCAT prep books. And as my professor's teaching me, I will look into the MCAT prep books and see what material correlates. Whatever material correlates, meaning it's in the lecture that my professor gives me and the MCAT study books, I will make sure I memorize that to a T. I make sure I put emphasis on you need to know this for your MCAT. That's you're going to take 2, 3 years later down the line. Anything else that's just for the lecture, I'll say, okay, I'll study it so I can pass the exam. But after I pass the exam, I'm going to take it away from my memory. I don't need it anymore. I can just take all the extra stuff, toast it out. But whatever I see that correlates with the MCAT study books, I'm gonna commit that to not lifelong memory, but long-term memory. That way, and I'll even take some notes there too. That way, a couple years later, I can go back to it and say, "Oh yeah, I wrote this, and this is how I explained it to myself." And blah blah blah. I said I would do that for all the courses that are required for the MCAT. So those are just a few things I would do differently. If you are watching this video and you've already got accepted to medical school, or you are, far past it or whatever, drop a comment, tell me what you would do differently as well. And if you just started getting in right now, tell me what are some challenges that you're facing right now, or any questions or concerns that you may have that I may be able to help you. I'm sure I am more than happy to help.